All right, we're back. Peace and blessings to you all. I am Dr. Raul Richardson, and this, as you already know, is a new day for you on Inspire You on Air, the new beat of the Bay. And I am on the line, continuing the conversation with Mr. Fred Richardson about Black resistance in light of Black History Month celebration 2023. So, Brother Fred, you were just talking about the National Organized Workers?
Neighborhood organized.
Neighborhood Organized Workers, yes.
Yes. Yes. But the main point, one of the main points is we quit. Once we got the grocery stores, the soft drink companies, and on, we decided we'd tackle the city. So we called for Operation Ghost Town. Operation Ghost Town meaning we don't want any Black people to go downtown for a whole year.
Wow.
Yeah, Operation Ghost Town. Downtown was as clean as it could be. No Black people nowhere.
Mm.
So then we boycotted the municipal auditorium. So what the merchants did, they got together and built Bel Air Mall. Otherwise, they thought they weren't gonna make it downtown. So they moved all of that they built Bel Air Mall. And downtown became a ghost town. Until Mike Dowd got in, downtown was pretty much, downtown was dead. We had to bring downtown, all the buildings had fallen down, had run down, folk was living upstairs, that quit happening. So downtown is vibrant now. But the neighborhood organized workers brought the city to its knees. So what really got them in 1969, Joe Langham was running for mayor.
Mm.
We called on no vote, Operation No Vote, stay home. That you have, all of you have the right to vote, but you have the right not to vote if voting was not going to be advantageous for you. It was nothing in it for you, you can stay home. We have interviewed all of the candidates. None of them, including Langham, said that they would do, they couldn't name anything definitively that they would do for the community. So we're asking everybody to stay home. Where Hurricane Camille hit on election day.
What?
The white people left town. Plus, we asked the Black, Langham kept winning because Black folk were voting for him. When Black folk didn't go to the polls and Hurricane Camille hit, Langham lost.
Get out.
When Langham lost, they decided then now it's got to go. It's got to go. So before the election in 1973, they had arrested Noble Beasley and James Finley, and they sent them to prison for conspiracy. Beasley got, I think, 37 years. Finley got 27, and they set them as far away west as they could send them.
What was the charge?
Conspiracy to extort money, conspiracy to distribute drugs, all conspiracy, meaning I don't need no evidence. I just need somebody in court to say that they did that. It came back to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. They remanded it back to Mobile saying you don't have no evidence unless you can come up with some more evidence. You got to let them go. They let them go because they couldn't come up with no more evidence. There was a lot more to it than that, but we don't have time to go into it. They let them go. So I became the next president of the neighborhood organized workers.
So hold on a second, Mr. Richards. So if I'm hearing you correctly, and I know this is probably detailed in your book, and I'm so grateful for finding out.
It is.
I've ordered that book, but basically what is important for our listeners to know is that when people stood up for themselves and took on an activist role, the response of folks at that time, and maybe even now, was to squash that resistance by incarcerating, jailing, or charging people so that they'd be
Yes,
intimidated and they would discontinue their activist engagement.
yes.
Mhm.
They sent them to prison. When I started calling, we were having weekly meetings. When I called the meetings, I had 5 or 6 people. It put fear in the heart. Their point is, if the federal government has come and got our leaders, they're gonna come and get us. So they were afraid to come out. So we really had to disband. But Beasley, when Beasley got out, they came and got Beasley on conspiracy again. And Beasley spent 29 years in prison on conspiracy.
Yeah.
But he got out. He got out 2 years before he died. He got out. I went and picked him up. He got out. But anyway, but now had done so much damage with all of this segregation and not hiring us that we had gotten, they couldn't reverse back to what they were doing. So the pattern had already been put in place. But what we got a roadmap for any group who want to organize. We left a roadmap. Once we start targeting these businesses and saying don't shop with them, Dr. King never didn't do that. We did that, and it paid off. It paid off.
But in fairness, some of that was represented in the Montgomery bus boycott, as well as the organization of the sanitation
Oh
workers.
yeah, now they used that for the bus part. Yeah, they used that in Montgomery. Don't get on the bus. Don't ride the bus. Yeah, they did that in Montgomery. Dr. King them did that in 1955 in Montgomery. No doubt about it. That's what they did. But once Dr. King got elected to SCLC as president, I don't see where they call on us all over the nation to boycott anything. And he certainly could have used that platform. He could have used that. Could have called for a boycott or whatever he wanted to do, but they didn't. That's not what they did. But I think though, unless we're gonna keep on going, we consider ourselves. If you're gonna go ask any American out there, what race are you in, and they're gonna say, I'm African American. All of that is.
I remember being a boy in elementary school, and I don't know if it was some kind of a social experiment that the teacher was conducting, but I remember them asking me, I may have been about 5 years old, and they asked me and my classmates, did we want to be called Negro versus African American? And, this had to be, I don't know, the 1960s or something like that. And of course, I had been bused to a school outside of my district because they said I was gifted or what have you. But I was the only Black in my class. And I remember that was the first time I heard conversations about this idea of Negro versus colored versus African American. But one other thing I want to point out, I'm going to let you go back into share. Folks, if you're just joining us, I am Dr. Raul Richardson, and this is A New Day for You on Inspire You on Air, the new beat of the Bay. And I'm chatting up with my dear friend and brother, Mr. Fred Richardson, sharing all kinds of perspective and experience about things that were going on and go on today. And I want to reference that as a hinge because in some ways, some of these voter suppression activities are going on now because we won't pass the Voting Rights Act, not wanting to give people water if they're on the line, not allowing absentee voting or early voting. And in some ways, we don't have a poll tax necessarily, but we still have some methodologies that are in place now that are designed to squash any activist mentality, anything that's going to be radically challenging the status quo. And you were at the forefront of all of that. So what other things would you want to share with our loyal listeners that are germane to how we get government to respond to the needs of the people, whether it's activists, direct engagement, or what have you?
Okay, so the reason they keep hammering, we're just 13.5% of the population. So why is the government, why is society focused on just, you got people here from all over the world, from all of the countries in the world. Why are they focused on us? So we don't know that ourselves because they can't stop us. This is why they're focusing on us. Henry Sampson invented the cell phone. We got Gladys Mae West, who developed GPS. You got Daniel Hale Williams, who was the first one to perform a open heart surgery. You got Dr. Caitlin Carrico, the woman who developed COVID-19 that saved millions of lives all over this world. We invented the air conditioner, the electric lamp, the elevator, the traffic light, the clothes dryer, the refrigerator, the helicopter, the transmission. We were there to help invent the atom bomb. Dr. Martin D. Taylor, I can go on and on. I'm saying no one has been treated as bad as us. No one has outproduced us. If you watch the news tonight, you're going to see a statue on top of the U.S. Capitol, Lady Freedom. It was a black man, Philip Reed, a slave. Sculpted that out, put it up there, a slave. They'll talk about the Statue of Liberty, but I bet you they won't talk about Lady Freedom on top of that Capitol because it's us. They're trying to make that lie they said about us that we were born innately inferior. They trying to make that come true. And if they don't stop us and put some stumbling blocks in our path, the whole world don't know that.
You know, it's great that you shared this because you're showing a global perspective, a national perspective, and obviously the 1901 Constitution for the state of Alabama clearly, explicitly connects to the fact that they expect white supremacy to continue to reign to be the order of the day. So now you are Fred Richardson, council person in the city of Mobile. And of course, there were a lot of surrounding events that precipitated that in terms of the organization of the government and the Zogby Act and all these other kind of things, which had to be overcome to get us to the point we're at now.
Right. Ain't no doubt about it. So we cannot be stopped. They fear us because they done told a lie that we are inferior. So if they don't take some sort of measures, everybody gonna know who we are. How many textbooks that you have in college that was written by a black man, a black woman?
Don't get me started.
None. So my point is, our perspective, they cannot look what's happening in Florida. They're taking anything pertaining to us out of the schools.
The critical race theory.
Yeah, because it's going to disprove the ancestors.
But it's more outrageous than that, because what they're essentially saying is anything that reflects our accurate history may make them uncomfortable, and their comfort is more important than telling the truth of the history, which is particularly outrageous. But one thing I want to circle back to that you started this conversation off with was this idea of us being property or chattel instead of being human beings and being relegated as a subspecies, which we know is complete conflict into the order and nature of God and his creation process.
Let me read the Dred Scott decision. Let me read from the Dred Scott decision of 1857. Dred was a slave in Missouri. His master moved to Illinois, a free state. The master died. The wife moved back to St. Louis and she took Dred with him. And Dred's point is, I was a free man in Illinois. You can't put me back in slavery. Dred went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court.
That's right.
But the opinion was written by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Roger B. Taney. That's who issued the decision. And this is what Taney had to say, that the Negro for more than a century before has been regarded as a being of inferior order, altogether unfit to associate with the white race, either in social or political relations, and so far inferior that they had no rights that a white man was bound to respect, and that this Negro made justly and lawful to be reduced to slavery for his own benefit, that he is so ignorant. Even if we set him free, he can't fend for himself. He's that ignorant. This
Okay.
is the
Okay.
Chief Justice
I
of the
feel you. I
Supreme
feel you,
Court.
Fred.
This is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court making this statement about us. So if I was a white farmer in Mississippi and Alabama, and I picked up the Mobile Register and I read where the Supreme Court Chief Justice said this about him, would I believe it? Yes, I believe it. I certainly would believe it. If the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court said that.
So wait a minute, Fred, tell me something. How, given all of this perspective, this experience, the neighborhood organized workers, the incarceration of these two fine gentlemen for all these years based on a conspiracy theory, how in the world did you get yourself migrated to being involved with politics in the city of Mobile?
I was just regularly coming to the meetings, and I was with another church member who was a member now. When I got there,
And I would like you to share your church because people need to know what church you go to.
Stone Street Baptist Church.
And what can you tell me about Stone Street Baptist Church? Because it is Black history.
The Stone Street Baptist Church, when I joined the church, was considered the oldest African-American Baptist church in the state of Alabama. Our pastor then, Dr. Charles A. Thompson, appointed me the church historian because some Black churches was challenging whether or not we were the oldest Black church. So he asked me to get the proof. When I finished my research, it showed that we not only we were the oldest Black church, we were the oldest Baptist church, period. That the oldest white church was 1808, the Flint River Baptist Church in Huntsville. We were 1806. So the Southern Baptists came out against me, but all our historians saying it's absolutely impossible for Black church to be because of slavery. So what I did, I submitted my documentation to the U.S. Department of the Interior for them to approve us, to put us on the National Register of Historical Places.
All right.
They
Okay.
accepted my documentation. If you go down to our church, they got all our plaques from the U.S. Department of Interior said that Stone Street Baptist Church is. I ain't heard another word for Southern Baptist.
And that's why I wanted you to share that. But let's circle back. Hey, folks, if you're just joining us, I don't know what to tell you. I promise you the Black History Month was going to be awesome. I promise you we're going to have some remarkable people. I'm learning things. I hope you're learning things. You are listening to A New Day for You on Inspire You on Air, the new beat of the Bay. And I'm chatting up with Mr. Fred Richardson. But let's circle back to how in the world did you begin involved with politics on the local scene? And what were the things that led up to that?
No, my degree was in political science.
I know.
I graduated from South Alabama with a degree in political science. It's been my love all along. But what happened, before I even went to college, I became a letter carrier with the U.S. Postal Service. And from there, I went on to become, I retired as manager of station and branch operations. I think your wife is over there.
That's correct.
Right. So I went on to become manager of station and branch operation, and I retired. When I retired from them in 1992, at 52 years old, I pursued my love. I pursued where I wanted to be. I pursued politics, and I was
Purpose, passion, and intersectionality. Purpose, passion, and intersectionality.
I ain't no doubt about it, but it was all along. I would have rather been doing this from the start, but see, I wanted to, when I got old, I wanted a check. I wouldn't have insurance, so I picked the U.S. Postal Service. I don't regret 1 second picking the U.S. Postal Service because it has been good to me. It has been good to me. But
Fred, let me say this, okay? We are going to have to stop in about 5 minutes.
Oh, but
so,
I'm
gonna let you finish because the last 5 minutes is yours. But I want people to know this is not the only appearance that Mr. Richardson is going to make. He is going to make another appointment because we're going to schedule another day for you to come back and do some more of this. You ain't done for Black History Month. I'm just letting our listeners know and you. So go on. You take your last 4 or 5
Okay,
minutes.
but this gonna be. I told you that we are not. Our race is not African American. We're in the same race as all other humans. We're in the human race, but we just can't declare that we're in the human race. This is what all of us got to qualify. Every human is 7.5 billion humans on the planet, and we all got to qualify the same way. We got to all stand and walk upright. We got to be able to laugh, cry, think, plan, reason, read, write. Otherwise, our function determines whether or not you're in the human. It's what you can do. A dog can bark. A bird can fly. It's their function, what they can do, how they can perform. So the color of your skin can assist you to perform any of those functions. Mm-hmm. It's irrelevant to the function. It has to do with the climate that your ancestors lived in. You got melanin in your skin. If it was hot, you lost the melanin to swim. Your body quit producing melanin if it was cold. You got big nose because heat burns up oxygen. So to get air, you got big nose. The other folks didn't need big nose, they got little nose. It has nothing to do with your function, as long as you can perform the function. So what they want to say, what put you in the Black race that you color your skin? What put you in the human race is what you can do, your function. It has nothing to do with nothing else but what you can. So they don't come up with some categories to put you in the race, and it hasn't. So our ethnicity is African American. That's where our ancestors came from. Your ethnicity has to do with your ancestors. Your race has to do with your function, what you can perform, what you can do. So they would claim us in the same race with apes and monkeys. Have you ever seen a ape sing a song? If you've seen it, I'm saying they can't perform the function. They can't perform the function. We can perform every function that any other human. What would America be? Suppose we take back the refrigerator, the washing machine, the air conditioner, the escalator, the elevator. I can go on. What if we'll go back to Africa, but give us everything we're going to take back everything we gave America. We're taking that back with us. They would have to shut America down.
Okay, Brother Fred, we're going to have to stop there. And you got to promise me that you're going to come back next week. And we're going to see, because we got the story, we got the history down, but we've got to impart the knowledge, experience that you have so that the next generation can be equipped with the tools. You talked about the roadmap of the neighborhood organized workers. We need to share that the next time you come on A New Day for You, on Inspire You on Air, the new Beat of the Bay. Can you make that commitment, brother?
Yes.
All right, folks, we're going to pay some more of the bills. We're going to be right back. And Brother Fred Richardson is going to be with us one more time again, because he ain't done sharing. And I don't care if Black History Month got to go on for 2 months. We're going to keep on sharing these messages. So, Fred, don't you dare move. We'll be right back.
All right.